Welcome back, everybody. How's your Theros Beyond Death pre-release weekend going so far? I went to the pre-release event last night at my local game store, and of course, picked up a couple boxes and some extra pre-release kits and all that. But I wasn't able to post a video about that last night. When I got home, I just wanted to do a really quick video opening a pre-release pack. I figured that'd be much faster than going over the whole event thing would be. So basically, what happened was they don't do the pre-release until like 10 o'clock, and I worked all day yesterday and had to work first thing this morning, so yeah, I was pretty exhausted. By the time the event even started, I was ready to go to bed. But first up, I'll show you what I kind of pulled and what I decided to go with. So my first pack, I noticed that there was a Farrakhan's Libation in there, which is a really good removal spell for this set. So I like that, and I also got a Lampad of Death Vigils in the first pack. So this guy is a beast. Pay 1, sacrifice a creature. Each opponent loses 1 life, and you gain 1 life. He's only a 2-drop for a 1/3. So great early blocker, and you can sack him to, or you can sack a creature to, basically do a drain life on your opponent. So I saw those 2 cards in the pack, and then I got to my rare, and it was an Eat to Extinction, which is also not a bad removal card at all for this set because it exiles target creature or planeswalker. Hence, it cannot escape. If it's exiled, it's already gone. So, and then you also get kind of the black version of the Scry. You can look at your top card of your library and you can choose to throw it in the graveyard if you want, which actually helps this set because of the escape in your own cards. So, I was like, well, black's looking pretty strong after that first pack. And then I opened my second pack, and I didn't get a rare, I got a mythic. I got Polychronos Unchained, I guess it's called. So he's a 4-drop, 1 green, 1 black, 2 colorless, and when he comes into play, he has 6 +1/+1 counters on it. It escapes with 12 +1/+1 counters. It only costs 2 more colorless to escape and exile 6 cards. But so he's a beast to begin with, but then if you read the text, if damage would be dealt to Polychronos while it has a 1/1 counter on it, prevent that damage and remove that many 1/1 counters from it. And then the next line of text is the real beastly part. 1 green, 1 black, 1 colorless, Polychronos fights another target creature. So he is removal on feet, just insane removal. So I was like, uh-oh. Might have to splash green if I don't end up going black and green because this guy is a monster. But then I pulled my next card. Yeah, that'd be a foil mythic Erebos with the alternate art. So yeah, black was pretty much on the second pack. Black was a shoe-in. It was definitely gonna be a black deck. So he's a 1 black, 3 colorless, legendary enchantment creature, God, indestructible. As long as your devotion to black is less than 5, Erebos isn't a creature. Whenever another creature you control dies, you may pay 2 life. If you do, draw a card, which is huge in black because black needs card draw. And 1 black, 1 colorless, sacrifice another creature. Target creature gets -2/-1 until end of turn. Yep, more creature removal. Nice. And he's a 5/6. So that pack right there, I was like, well, we're definitely going black and probably going to have to splash green if not go green. So our next pack, the rare was good old Nightmare Shepherd. Yep, more awesome black. 2 black, 2 colorless for a flying 4/4. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, you may exile it. If you do, create a token that's a copy of that creature, except it's a 1/1 and it's a nightmare in addition to its other types. So anything that doesn't have escape, you can basically turn into a 1/1 nightmare for free just by exiling the card. So yeah, flying in a sealed or draft type format is huge. So a flying 4/4 for a 4 alone is really good, but then having the extra ability as well to create chump blockers. Next pack was Cetizen Champion. Green and 2 colorless for a 1/3. Whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on Cetizen Champion and draw a card. So pretty much considering 50% of this set is enchantments, either enchantment cards or enchantment creatures. See, enchantment creatures. Enchantment creatures. That's a huge card because he keeps popping up +1/+1s, and you keep getting to draw cards. So that pretty much solidified that I was probably going to be running green, black and green, and I was still wanting to run blue because I had a couple of good blue cards in the first pack. So I was thinking about 3 colors. I was also thinking about red because I gotten a couple decent red cards. My next pack was Low Strider. Yep, black was a definite. So pretty much, you look at my rares and it's pretty obvious. There's not much I could do. Had to run black. Low Strider is 1 black, 2 colorless for a 3/2. When you enter the battlefield, you create a 0/1 white goat creature token. This guy. See there? Sacrifice another creature to scry 1, and he does escape. And when he escapes, he has 2 +1/+1 counters on him. So, and he's pretty cheap escape. He's only 5 to escape, 2 black, 3 colorless, and exile 4 other cards. So he was a 5/4 a couple times and during gameplay. Then my last rare was actually more black. I got one of the temples. It was black and red. So not big on the temples. I think they're terrible, but you know, if I'd added red to the deck, that would have been handy, but I didn't. So anyways, that's my rares. So it was pretty obvious, black and green, just from the rares alone. But I wasn't, you know, I didn't commit to that. I actually checked all the other cards, and I really wanted to add a different color. So I looked at all my blue cards because I really wanted blue to be in there because blue has some really cool stuff in this set. And I did get this pretty little Caliph, beloved of the sea. Caliph? I don't know. It's a demigod. So I got that, which was nice. And I got Eidolon of Philosophy. I got a couple of those. Nice that they're a 1-drop, 1/2. Good for early game blocking, but they're sacrifice it to draw 3 cards. You got to pay 7 mana. Yeah, that's probably not happening in a sealed deck. Triton Wave Rider. Pretty much gains flying whenever you cast an enchantment, so that's nice until end of turn. So more flying. Thirst for Meaning. Draw 3 cards, then discard 2 cards unless you can discard an enchantment card. Sleep of the Dead, so a little creature control. Tap target creature doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step, and it escapes, so you get to use it again. And yeah, that thing. It's the Morphus. The Itchy-Morphus. Okay, we're going to call it the Itchy-Morphus from now on. So the Itchy-Morphus, which is basically creature control, turns anything into a 0/1 fish. Deny the Divine, a counterspell. Sage of Mysteries, mill card. And I did get the blue, one of the blue sagas. It's okay. It's not great. It's okay. Not terribly great. Lead Instructor. When it comes in, you draw a card, discard a card. 3-drop, 2/2. Glimpse of Freedom, draw a card. Yeah, I wasn't going to stack that. Why waste a card so you could get a single card draw? It does have Escape, but it's 5 other cards from your graveyard. Yeah, that's late game. That's honestly, that may be the worst card in the set. Honestly, that's terrible. Don't ever stack that. Chain to Memory, a little more creature control with a scry. Pretty cheap too. Starlight Mantle. But that was it. So when you look at the blue, there's just no good creatures. There's like 1 decent creature and a couple cheap chump blockers. But I mean, there's really just no good creatures at all in blue. And there's not enough real powerful stuff to, I mean, there's like, what, 2 creatures, 3 creatures, and a couple control spells? Yeah. So blue just didn't make the cut. There's no way I could stack blue. Red was tempting. So we had the Irreverent Revelers. I think I got a couple of those, if I remember correctly. I think there might be another one in there. Yeah. I don't know. No, maybe not. when he enters the battlefield, you can either destroy target artifact, or they can gain haste, and it's a 3-drop 2/2, so not too terrible. Portent of Betrayal, you can gain control of a target creature until end of turn. Untap that creature, it gains haste until end of turn, plus you get to scry 1. So that's pretty cool. Beat your opponent down with their own creature, always fun. And it's a sorcery, though, which kind of sucks. If it was an instant, that would have been even more fun. Dreamstalker Manicore, whenever you cast your first spell during opponent's turn, Dreamstalker Manicore deals 1 damage to any target. Not bad, but, you know, there's no shocks in here, so... and then the Arena Trickster, whenever you cast your first spell during your opponent's turn, put a 1/1 counter on him. There's a 4-drop 3/2 or 3/3. Incendiary Oracle, he's pretty cool. He has fire breathing basically. And if it would die, you exile it, but he is fire breathing 2-drop 2/2. So not too bad, little guy. Underworld Fire's a little bit of ping damage. You do 1 damage to each creature and each planeswalker, and anything that dies that turn is exiled instead, which is nice. Final Flare, you gotta sack a creature, but it does deal 5 damage to target creature. Infuriate, +3/+2 for 1. There's the Hero of the Games, which is pretty decent. Aurora's Blessing. Deals 4 damage to target creature, planeswalker, and opponent controls when it comes into the battlefield, and it gives your creature +1/+1, but it's pretty expensive at the 4-drop. If it was 3-drop, I think it'd be a lot more useful. Rep and Flames, 1 damage to each of up to 3 target creatures. Those creatures can't block this turn. Good little win condition. You ping all their creatures so they can't block, and then attack with everything just to do the final blow. Another kind of fire breather, but you got to sacrifice a creature or an enchantment to go in +1 and menace until end of turn. 5-drop 4/5. The Skillful War Leader. And Underworld Ragehound. Yeah, he's alright. He escapes with a 1/1 counter on it. He's a 2-drop 3/1, but he attacks every combat. It's alright. So, Reg, again, just didn't have enough real power and not enough damage spells or removal spells, I thought, to really bother with it, especially when I had such powerful green and black cards to go with. So, I didn't use that. I had a couple multicolors. I did have the red-green guy. He's pretty cool. Trample. The only problem is he can't attack unless you control another creature with power 4 or greater. He's a 3-drop 4/4, but he's useless unless you got another 4-power creature out there. Rise to Glory, decent card. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield, or return target aura card from your graveyard to the battlefield. You can choose one or both, but the casting cost is ridiculous. 1 black, 1 white, 3 colorless. A little too much. White, I did get a Dreadful Apathy. Good creature control card, basically a pacifism. I did get a Triumphant Surge. Destroy target creature with power 4 or greater. You gain 3 life. A little expensive, but not bad. I did get a flyer, the Transcendent Envoy. He's a 2-drop 1/2 flyer, and aura spells you cast cost one less to cast. Oh, I did get 2 of the Dreadful Apathies. I was actually really tempted to run white because I did get some good control in there. The Omen of the Sun's pretty decent. 3 mana, flash it in, and you create 2 1/1 white creature soldier tokens, and you gain 2 life. And then you can sacrifice it to scry 2. Good little turn the tide in a battle type card. Pious Wayfarer is an awesome card. 1-drop 1/2. Whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. So he's a pretty awesome little card for this set. Captivating Unicorn. He's a 5-drop 4/4. You tap a creature opponent controls when enchantment comes in. Laguna Band Storyteller. Karametra's Blessing. Glory Bearers. Another Captivating Unicorn. Commanding Presence. Flicker of Fate. Sentinel's Eyes. And Leona the Lost Pride. So I did get some decent white cards. But again, I just didn't think white was powerful enough to run with on what I had. So to the cards I actually ran, obviously I ran all the rares except for the Temple because I didn't go with red. So I had the Erebos and the Nightmare Shepherd, the Setessan Champion, the Woe Strider, the Eat to Extinction, and the Pulokranos. Obviously I ran all of them because they're all beasts. I ran the Fracas Libation. Awesome card. You can choose whether to make your opponent sacrifice a creature or an enchantment. This comes in handy when they finally get their god out on the board, which is a legendary enchantment creature. If they don't have any other enchantment creatures, you can make them sacrifice the god. That was awesome. I did that a couple times. Lampad, of course, just went over that. Lampad's a beast in Sealed. Mystic Repeal, possibly the best removal card in the set for this set. Put target enchantment on the bottom of its owner's library. Yes, I did make somebody put their god on the bottom of their library more than once. They were not happy. 1 green, that's it. That was it. So I wish I got 4 of those. I would have been dominating. Nessian Horn Beetle. At the beginning of your turn, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, put a 1/1 counter on it. It's a 2-drop 2/2. Good curve out creature early game. And when you get bigger creatures out, you might get a 1/1 counter on them. I wasn't able to, but you might. Cling to Dust is pretty good. Exile target card from a graveyard. If it was a creature card, you gain 3 life. Otherwise, draw a card for 1 black. That is incredible. And then it also has Escape. The problem is the escape cost is too much. Exile 5 other cards from your graveyard. In Sealed, you don't really have that many cards in your graveyard unless you're doing self-mill. So, and the escape cost was 4. So really it was kind of a one-shot deal most of the time. I think maybe once I used it twice. Voracious Typhoon. He's a 4-drop 4/4. Nothing special, but he can escape with 3 1/1 counters on it. So late game, he comes back as a 7/7. Pretty cool. Plummet, destroy target creature with flying. That came in handy once. Myers Grasp, great removal spell. It's a 1 black, 1 colorless enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets -3/-3. Even if you can't kill their creature, you're probably going to dumb it down to where it's controllable. And that black counts towards your devotion. So there you go. Relentless Pursuit. Reveal the top 4 cards of your library. You may put a creature card and or a land card from among them into your hand. Put the rest into your graveyard. For 1 green and 2 colorless, that's an awesome card. I did pull 2 of them too. So with black, card draw is a huge problem, especially when you're getting things out pretty quick, when you're trying to run kind of fast. So I had to be able to get through to more cards. This card, I'm glad I pulled it, but I'm really disappointed I only got 1. I was really hoping to get several of these. Fruit of Tizarus. This is possibly my favorite card in the set, as far as commons go. 1 black, target player loses 2 life. It's got Exile, 1 black and 3, and Exile 3 other cards from your graveyard. I was able to stack up, 4 or 6 damage at a time with this card. So doing the escape a few times in a row late game, popping it early and then doing the escape late game. Yeah, I was able to get a lot of damage out of that card. That card's awesome. Thaumatage is familiar. I just needed more flyers. I didn't have enough flying. I didn't draw hardly any flying. This set doesn't have a lot of flying, actually. That's the one downside of the set. I think this set's incredible, but they should have had more flyers in it. When he enters the battlefield, you scry 1. He's a 3-drop 1/3 flyer, artifact creature. Nothing special, but not bad. Venomous Hierophant, good old Death Touch, and he does self-mill when he enters the battlefield. You put the top 3 cards of your library in your graveyard, and he's a 4-drop 3/3. So the self-mill in this set is actually a good thing in a lot of cases. Natalia's Forerunner, 5-drop 5/3 with trample. Other creatures you control have trample. In Sealed, that's huge, because you can get, damage through one way or another. And you trample over the little white weenie blockers and still do some damage. Natalia's Huntmaster. When he enters the battlefield, target creature you control gets +X until end of turn, where X is your devotion to green. Unfortunately, I didn't have a lot of green out every time I cast this guy, so that was usually just +1 or +2. He's a 4-drop 4/3. Not bad. In a custom-built deck, a deck built around devotion, he'd probably be a monster. Cetizen Skirmisher, 2-drop 2/1. Whenever enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, he gets +1/+1 till end of turn. Yet another one that gets pumped up by all the enchantment creatures. Moss Viper. Wish I got more of these too. 1/1 Death Touch for 1-drop green. Yep, gotta love those little weenies that are holding big old monsters at bay. And then Soul Reaper of Mogus. He's a 3-drop 2/3, and you can spend 3 to sacrifice a creature and draw a card. I ended up not using him ever because I would either have the Lampad out, and I'd rather do the damage and gain the life, or I had the Erebus out, and I'd rather sack the creature to remove one of their creatures. So, yeah, I did get a goat token, which was handy because I needed it for the Woe Strider. These are the cards I didn't use in black. The Elspeth's Nightmare, I actually started with it in my deck, but had to pull it out to add more of the green card draw cards in there. Pretty cool. I like this one a lot. It's just, I think you kind of have to have 4 of them in there or more of them than one to kind of make it effective at all. And it just wasn't powerful enough for sealed when you're only running 40 cards. 60 card deck, you could probably find a spot for it, but 40 cards, it was a little too underpowered. Wings of Hubris, I was worried about flyers, so I kept that on my sideboard just to make sure I didn't need more flying capability. Entrancing Lyre, I left on my sideboard just in case I needed to do a little more creature control. Tap creature, basically 3-drop, and then pay the creature's casting cost. You can tap them, or their power. Right. Funeral Rites, you draw 2 cards, you lose 2 life, and put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard. I went with the green card draw instead because it gave me 2 cards and I didn't have to lose the life. So yeah, I went with that one instead. I only have one of these. Clothis Design, creatures you control get +X/+X, where X is your devotion to green. Obviously, like I said, I was having trouble with green devotion, plus it's a 6-drop, so a little rough on that one. Warbriar's Blessing just gives him +2, and he can fight up to 1 target creature you don't control when you put it on there. Setessan Training. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. Enchanted creature gets +1 and has trample. It's 2 cost. I just didn't have enough room for it. I probably would have stacked it if I had more room. Omen of the Hunt. Really there's only a couple. I think really the red Omen's the only one I would probably really use. The black one's okay. Return a creature to your hand from the graveyard, but the red one's probably the most effective one that I'd actually stack. Green one just lets you put a library, or search your library for basic land, put it into the battlefield tapped, and shuffle your library. The Hyrax Tower Scout enters the battlefield, untap target creature. He's a 3-drop 3/3. I just felt I had more powerful, better creatures to put in there. Theros Beyond Brawler, he's just a little too pricey on the green side. These guys, I was really tempted to stack them. The Blight Breath Catablipus. It's like they really just tried hard to come up with completely unpronounceable names in this set. Wizards just trolling us, I swear. Anyway, so when he enters the battlefield, target creature and opponent controls gets -X until end of turn, where X is your devotion to black. So I really love him because he's creature control. It's like a removal spell built into a creature. The problem is he's only a 3/2 for 6 mana. I was like, 6 mana, that's a big card to be sitting in my hand. That one's gonna be sitting in my hand for a while. So yeah, I didn't do it because I wasn't sure I would be able to get enough devotion to kill big enough creatures that late in the game to really bother with it. And he's just too weak. If he'd have been stronger, I'd have stacked him for sure. Then a couple of Nyxborn Marauders. 4-drop 4/3 enchantment creature. They just didn't have any abilities at all, and the 3 toughness was a little bit weak for kind of what I was working with. I liked that they were enchantment creatures, but just didn't have enough room in the deck for them. So that's what I went with. So my results were the first match. I lost the first game, won the second game, lost the third game barely. I think I had them down pretty well. It was really close. I just kind of got unlucky and didn't draw a single. What was it? Yeah, I don't think I drew a single forest the whole game until like the last couple turns, and it was too late, and I was sitting there with a handful of green cards. But I had like 10 swamps out, so yeah, I kind of got mana screwed on that one. Then the second round, I won the first one, lost the second one just barely. Again, I think I had the guy down to like 1 life, or 1 or 2 life. Yeah, it was pretty close. So we tied because we ran out of time because they were kind of longer games. So I was down 2 rounds, 1 loss and a tie. So there was only 4 rounds, and there was 48 people or something like that, 45, 48 people. So yeah, there was no chance of me getting a prize. So, and it was already like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I had to work at 10 a.m. and I still want to come home and do at least 1 video before I went to bed. So I opted to just give a few people a bye around, and I took off and headed home and did the video and then went to bed and got a whole 4 hours of sleep and was miserable at work today. So there you have it. There was my results. He did give me a pack for an extra pack for participating. So I opened that when I opened the pre-release kit in the video last night. If you watched that one. As you see behind me, I do have a couple boxes and a couple more pre-release kits. I'm going to try to open one of the boxes and then post the video later tonight. So, can't wait to dig into them. Everybody's been getting crazy pulls. There was probably 15 people at the pre-release last night that bought boxes or a couple boxes and were opening them right there at the table, and they were getting insane pulls. I mean, just nuts. The pulls were absolutely crazy. So I'm hoping my luck holds true with everybody else that I've been watching open these boxes, because it looks like these boxes are just stacked. So can't wait to get into them. So hopefully I'll get one of those open tonight and be able to post the video later. So stay tuned for that. This video is going way too long. Thank you guys for watching. I'm sure nobody's still actually watching at this point, but if you are, I really appreciate it. I really appreciate all the views, all the likes, everything you do. So thank you so much. Thanks, guys. Take care.